What if I told you the 5 years before retirement could make or break your next 3 decades of your life? Some people think retirement planning starts the year before they stop working, but it's those last 5 years that shape your income, taxes, and flexibility for decades to come. Why is this window so important? Because the choices you make in this short time frame can affect how much income you'll reliably have, how much tax you'll ultimately pay, and how much flexibility you'll enjoy in retirement. Think about it this way. If you miss this window, you might walk into retirement with higher taxes, unnecessary risk, or gaps in healthcare planning that could have been avoided. But if you use these 5 years wisely, you can position yourself for clarity, for control, and for confidence in the years ahead. Hi, I'm David Millington, certified financial planner professional and president of Puzzle Wealth Solutions. I spent 23 years helping families and business owners prepare for retirement strategies designed to reduce uncertainty and align them with their long-term goals. In this video, I'm going to share some of the most important cornerstones to focus on during this final stretch before retirement. That way you can enter your next chapter prepared, confident, and in control. All right, let's get going. Let's start with your income picture, the base that supports every other decision. The first step in the final 5 years is to get clear on where your income will come from. For most retirees, income doesn't just come from one place. It's a combination of Social Security, pensions, investment accounts, and personal savings. But here's the challenge. Not all income is taxed the same way. Social Security may be partially taxable depending on your other income. Traditional 401k and IRA withdrawals are generally taxed as ordinary income. But meanwhile, Roth IRA withdrawals, if this account has been opened at least 5 years and you're over 59 and a half, they're typically tax-free. And then you have taxable brokerage accounts where dividends, interest, and capital gains each have different tax rules. By mapping out where your income will come from and how it'll be taxed, you create the foundation for every other retirement strategy. This is also the time to check your Social Security benefit statement and decide, do you plan to file at 62, full retirement age, or delay it until 70? That decision alone may have a significant financial impact over your entire lifetime in retirement. So before you step into retirement, take the time to build a clear picture of your income sources and how they'll interact with taxes. That clarity is what helps you plan the next steps with confidence. All right, here's a quick question for you. Are your income sources coordinated with taxes, or are they set up to work against each other? Once you know the sources of income, the next cornerstone to tackle is managing the taxes in this 5-year window. In the 5 years before retirement, tax planning becomes just as important as investment planning. And here's why. Once you start withdrawing from your accounts, every dollar can be taxed differently. And without a plan, you might find yourself in a higher tax bracket than you expected or wanted. Or frankly, you need to be. Think about it. Withdrawals from traditional IRAs and 401ks are taxed as ordinary income. Social Security, again, may become taxable depending on how much other income you have, and tax laws always change with that. But even your investment accounts can trigger capital gains if you sell assets at the wrong time. That's why this short window before retirement is a perfect time to look at strategies like Roth IRA contributions or conversions, harvesting capital gains while you're still in a lower tax bracket, or delaying withdrawals from certain accounts so you don't trigger avoidable taxes early. The key takeaway is this: by managing when and how you withdraw from your accounts, you can potentially lower your lifetime tax bill and keep more money working for you. Okay, with taxes addressed, let's tackle the next cornerstone, and that's risk. You want to seek to protect the plan from early market shocks that can permanently set you back. One of the most overlooked risks in the year before retirement is something called the sequence of returns risk. And here's what that means. If the market drops in your first few years of retirement while you're also withdrawing from your portfolio, the impact can be far greater than if that same drop happened later on in retirement. Think about it like this. If you lose 20% of your portfolio in the first year and you're taking income out at the same time, you're locking in losses potentially. The remaining money doesn't have the same chance to recover. And this can shorten the lifespan of your portfolio significantly. So what can you do in this critical 5-year window? You should build a cash or safe income reserve. Having 1 to 2 years of expenses in cash or very low volatility assets means you won't be forced to sell investments into a downturn. You want to diversify across asset classes, spreading your portfolio across stocks, bonds, and potentially alternatives that can help reduce volatility. Rebalance your portfolio to align with your new risk tolerance as you approach retirement. The goal here isn't to avoid risk altogether because growth is still important to keep up with inflation. The goal is to manage risk strategically so that the early years of retirement are not derailed by a poorly timed market drop. Next, let's address a major cornerstone too many people underestimate, and that's healthcare. Healthcare is often the most underappreciated expense in retirement. Here's the reality. Even if you're healthy today, the cost of medical coverage, prescriptions, and especially long-term care can be significant in retirement. For most retirees, Medicare begins at 65, but Medicare doesn't cover everything. You'll still have premiums, deductibles, dental, vision, and potential out-of-pocket costs. And long-term care is another factor many people overlook. Studies show that around 70% of people age 65 or older will need some form of long-term care at some point in their lives. That could be in-home care, assisted living, or nursing care. And here's the challenge. Those costs can easily reach hundreds of thousands of dollars over time. And Medicare does not cover extended long-term care. So what can you do in this 5-year window before retirement to prepare for healthcare down the road? You want to review your coverages. Make sure you understand Medicare, Medigap, and Medicare Advantage options so you're not caught off guard when you have to make those decisions. You want to evaluate long-term care strategies. This might include long-term care insurance, something like a hybrid policy that combines life insurance with long-term care benefits. Or you could even set aside specific assets to cover these expenses. You want to build healthcare costs into your retirement income plan. Do not treat them as an afterthought. Make them part of your core financial planning so you can preserve flexibility elsewhere. Planning ahead for healthcare and long-term care may help reduce the risk of eroding your savings later on in life when you really can't go back to work. It also gives you greater clarity knowing you've addressed one of the biggest uncertainties in retirement if you plan ahead. If something happened to you tomorrow, who would make the medical and financial decisions on your behalf? Well, you need to create a plan for that. And then last, with income, taxes, risk, and healthcare aligned, let's review how to try to make sure your legacy follows your intent. So the last and final cornerstone in the 5 years before retirement is to make sure your estate and legacy plans are up to date. Too often, people focus only on investments and income, but overlook how their assets will be transferred or managed in the future. So here's what to review in that 5-year window before retirement begins. Update your will and beneficiary designations. Things like retirement accounts, life insurance policies, and even some bank accounts transferred directly by beneficiary, not by what is in your will. So make sure to keep these designations accurate. That'll help ensure your assets go where you intend. Also consider a trust. For many high net worth families, trusts can provide more control over how and when assets are distributed. They may also help streamline the transfer process and reduce delays for their heirs. You want to review powers of attorney and advance directives. These documents ensure that someone you trust can make financial or medical decisions on your behalf if you're not able to. And also, please coordinate with your professionals. Estate planning is not just a legal issue or a financial issue. It is both. Working together with your attorney, your CPA, and your financial advisor ensures that your plan is aligned, is tax efficient, and it's reflective of your wishes. By handling these updates in the final 5 years before retirement, you're not only reducing uncertainty, you're making sure your legacy is transferred according to your goals. So let's bring this all together. The 5 years before retirement are about more than just saving a little extra money. They're about making smart, coordinated decisions that shape your income, your taxes, your healthcare, and your legacy. So if you're nearing retirement and want to check the boxes to preparing and aligning these 5 cornerstones, taxes, investments, risk, healthcare, and estate considerations, please book a Zoom meeting with me using the link in the description below. At Puzzle Wealth Solutions, we specialize in helping high net worth individuals plan more confidently for investments, for taxes, for income, and even things like long-term care, all with personalized strategies that consider the complexities that high net worth families often face. So if you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more retirement planning insights. So until next time, remember, stay informed, stay proactive, and take control of your retirement.